So here we are, everybody. The conclusion of Game of Thrones finished up last night, and this is gonna be my season 8, episode 6 review. So this episode really didn't disappoint. This was a super well concluded version of the season. I really appreciated what took place. So let's kind of go over the episode. So we end up like starting off with the aftermath of Dany losing her mind. Burning down most of King's Landing with her dragon. Everyone's in shock. I mean, Tyrion's just completely lost his crap. He is just like, this is not okay. He's done. John finds a bunch of the Unsullied just like completely murdering these surrendered Lannister soldiers. He seems to think it's okay to just sit there and murder these people even though they surrendered. He's just slitting throats like it ain't no thing. Dany has gone full evil dictator princess, queen, whatever she is. She's wearing outfits like at this point that are just completely something Cersei should have been wearing. They had some really, really awesome scenes where they're showing through what's left of the Red Keep. I think it was the Red Keep that they were showing the leftovers of, the ruins of, and her last dragon like opens its wings behind her, and it makes Dany look like this. It makes her look like Satan, and it's kind of a overarching theme here is that she isn't the one who should be saving people anymore. She is the evil itself. That is one of the things that is like a reoccurring theme with like really, really good, stories that like when you have evil that convinces you they're good, but they've been evil all along. It is that moment is just like, it takes your breath away. It's like, oh no, this is not what we thought it was. And I think a lot of people have had issues with the season. And I think that's a lot of what the issue is that people had with the season. They didn't see Dany being this threat, being this evil individual, even though she had been showing she had signs of it for the entire series. I use this as an example a lot in the last week to defend what's been going on. And it was when Dany lost her husband and her baby, she set herself on fire. Now, I want you to say, what does that mean? It means that Dany was never completely stable. And when bad things happen and when Dany loses things that she cares about and loves, bad things are going to happen. It was like her setting herself on fire. It was fortunate for her that her setting herself on fire actually just awakened her dragons and made her gave her the fuel, the momentum to become what she was in this last episode. But it's the earliest of evidence to show you that Dany was always kind of questionably sane. Her dad was the craziest of all the Targaryens, and so you can't be surprised that she was a little bonkers at that point. So anyways, while she's, sitting there and looking at all her troops and everything, Tyrion goes down into the cellars where the dragon skeletons were, and where he told Jaime to take Cersei, and he finds their bodies, and that's kind of like Tyrion's last straw, and he just loses it. So he goes up and listens to Dany basically tell all her Unsullied that she's going to free all the people of the world. She's basically saying she's going to conquer the entire world because she thinks she's better than everyone and she's going to be the right ruler. But she's going to do stuff like she's been doing, and it is she's murdering innocents and just killing those who oppose her for no reason. And there's a very haunting thing with this whole episode because it looks like it's snowing the whole episode, but it's not snow, it's ash from the city burning down. And it's a real haunting image and just like the devastation of what Dany's caused. You can see it in some of these images I have in the background behind me. And the real significant images because it just shows you that when Dany gets what she wants, destruction ensues. So Dany basically, tells her soldiers, "This isn't over with. We're gonna keep going." And Tyrion comes up and he's like, "I can't. You just destroyed all these innocent people," and throws his, hand of the king thing away. And she's like, "It's okay. You're a traitor, and you you let your brother out. So yeah, you're going to jail." And she's basically gonna kill him. And Jon is like, "Hey, Dany, your dudes are killing people they shouldn't." And she's like, "No, they're enemies. They need to die." And at this point, Tyrion's carried away. Jon goes and sees her a little bit, or goes and sees Tyrion a little bit later, and Tyrion's like, "Yeah, I messed up. Varys is right." And so something I didn't realize in the couple episodes where Varys was like writing letters and was saying that Dany wasn't going to eat, he was trying to poison her. Varys knew all along that this was going to, he had his speech before he died that I talked about last week, but like he knew that this was going bad and he knew it was going bad quickly. So that's why he was trying to poison her. So Jon goes and talks to Tyrion in prison. He's just like locked away in like a pottery room or something. And Tyrion's like, you know what she's going to do? She's going to keep doing this till like no one's left. She's not going to be happy unless everyone's dead. And Jon's like, "Yeah, but like she's the queen." That's like he's been his response all season. When everyone keeps pointing out to him that Dany's losing her crap, he's like, "Yeah, but she's the queen." And side note, Grey Worm was going to go to the end, just giving up for Dany. And so he basically goes, "You need to do something, dude, because you're the only one who can." So Jon ends up going back and like going to Dany, who's sitting in the like by the Iron Throne by herself and like with her dragon, her one remaining dragon. And she's basically justifying everything she's done and all the people she killed and how it's all right because she's going to free everyone and she's going to break the wheel is the phrase she kept using. And Jon I think Jon just figures out at this point that he can't let this woman rule because she's going to kill so many people. And so he kisses her and embraces his aunt and then proceeds to stab her. Stabs her in the heart. And she goes down, and it was kind of beautiful and tragic, but it's what was going to happen. It was always destined for Jon to murder Dany. So she goes down and dies, and then the dragon is like, "What the heck just happened?" And I honestly thought at this point that the dragon was going to try to light Jon on fire, but instead he just melts the Iron Throne, which is a very fitting end for the Game of Thrones series itself, because it's it's that item that everybody was fighting for this entire time, was that one throne. So he stabs her, she dies, the dragon is outraged, picks her up and goes off. I think they said he went west is what they said, and just never saw him again. So he's the last dragon carrying Dany off. And so like then they fast forward a couple weeks, and it's like they're taking Grey Worm's taking Tyrion to this council meeting, and they're basically saying that they won't let Jon go because Jon is, he murdered her. I still don't know how they knew what happened because there was no body. The dragon carried her off. I guess there was blood there and whatnot, and that's enough to prove what happened. But I mean, it's not like it's CSI. It's medieval CSI. So he carries her off. They carried her off. The dragon did. And so at this meeting, Grey Worm brings Tyrion, and it's like like the rulers of the world, basically at this point, all the kingdoms, and they're like, Grey Worm wants to kill Tyrion, he wants to kill Jon, and Tyrion goes, "You have to pick a king to do this," and whatnot. And so then everyone argues for a little bit, and it ends up getting picked that Bran is going to be the new king, which is the most surprising thing for me in this whole episode. I mean, it makes sense. but it's not something that I ever saw coming. And it was very much about people doing, even though they didn't want to, doing what they know is right, what they have to do. And that's what Bran did. He's like, okay, I'll be king. He decides that he wants to free Jon and Tyrion, but he only could get them to free Tyrion. But he convinces them that they can't, kill Jon, and so he ends up being sent back to the Night's Watch, back up north. So after this, we have Bran's now king, and he tasks Tyrion to be his hand of the king. And Tyrion's like, I'm an idiot. You can't do this. I've screwed up too much. He's like, you're going to spend the rest of your life making up for this. So we have Bronn and Tyrion and all the characters that we've known, over the seasons have kind of make up Bran's new council. And by the way, when they're going over this, basically Sansa says the North is never going to kneel, and we're going to be our own thing again. And so because the North had always been in their own kingdom up until the first Targaryen came over a couple hundred years ago, or however long it was. So she's like, "No, we're gonna be good. We're gonna go off and do our own thing." So the North is an independent enemy at this part at the end, and Bran rules over the other. It's the 6 kingdoms, not the 7 kingdoms anymore. So, he is there, and he's gonna, make the kingdom better. I mean, he's pretty young, so he's got a really long time to make the kingdom better, and he knows everything, and he sees the past, and he has the most knowledge ever. So that's what the Three-Eyed Raven does. So he should be a good ruler long term. He doesn't have those motivations. Sansa becomes the queen of the North, which is really cool. She gets some really awesome outfits and really cool stuff. And Arya goes off to explore. She's Lewis and Clarking it, man. She's gonna go explore the rest of the world that nobody knows about. So with a giant ship with a Stark logo on the mast, or on the sail. And so Tyrion and them all have to figure out how to rebuild the kingdom, rebuild everything, resupply the food for the winter. And at the very end, the closing scene is Jon going north of the wall with all the wildlings, and so he's just going north. He's not going to be in the Kingsguard. He's just going to be a wildling. With Ghost, he pets Ghost to make up for a couple episodes ago when he left, and everyone was very happy. And Ghost in his zombie eaten ear. So the episode was super well done, and everything concluded. The Bran thing was a little weird in how Jon got handled there, and I don't know if he ever justified what he was and who he was, but it was really well done overall. I don't know. I think Jon ruling still would have been my pick for everything, but I think it's kind of a cop-out to have Bran do it instead because he's that Raven. But it makes sense. And Sansa being who's gone through more than most people on the entire show, if not all people on the show, just gets to prove that she's now the strongest leader of the favorite house of everyone. And she wears this really cool costume and outfit, and she's got a cool direwolf crown and a direwolf throne, and it's pretty awesome, man. They ended it really well. Overall, the season was really well done. I know people had issues, and there are little things I had overall issues with, but overall, the show was really, really well done this season. I'm so happy they did everything they did. I'm happy the way it went, and I am very glad that Game of Thrones is what it is. Now it'll be interesting to see if these sequels or prequels come out, and if it is true that George R. R. Martin has had these 7 books 6 and 7 done for a while and just hasn't wanted HBO asked him to hold them back. So, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please hit a like and subscribe and the notify bell so you'll be notified when I do my other videos. And thanks for spending your time with me, and everyone have a good one.